Mayor Koch will present Quincy's 2026 budget to the City Council on Monday, May 5th. A public hearing on the budget will follow on Monday, May 12th at 6:30 p.m., both held in the Great Hall at Old City Hall. We're hoping for a strong showing at both meetings. These are critical moments for residents to show they're paying attention. If you have something to say, the public hearing is your chance to say it. But even just being in the room, on either night, sends a message. Let's pack the hall and make sure the community's voice is present and heard.
A city budget is the community's financial plan. It answers three big questions. How much money the city expects to bring in, mostly from taxes, fees, state or federal aid. What services and projects the city needs to fund, schools, public safety, or public works, for instance, and how much those services and projects are expected to cost. But real life isn't always simple, especially for cities. Costs can rise faster than expected, like when construction prices jump or an emergency strikes. Revenues can fall short too, if state funding gets cut or if new growth slows. When that happens, cities have a few choices: cut back on spending, find new sources of revenue, or borrow. Though borrowing adds debt that taxpayers eventually have to repay. Good budgeting means being ready for change. To illustrate this, think about how a household budget works. You plan your income, your bills, and what you can set aside for groceries, repair, or savings. If something unexpected happens, like a car repair or a drop in income, you either cut back, find new income, or tap into savings. Cities have to budget the same way, just with a lot more zeros. So in 2023, Quincy's budget laid out its financial plan for the year. The city estimated how much it would collect and planned spending across major areas like education, public safety, infrastructure, etc. On paper, everything is supposed to fit, just like it would for a household making their monthly budget. So that year, Quincy set aside $424 million for their budget. The largest category was 32% for education, followed by public safety at just under 20%, and employee benefits at 17.4%. But plans don't always match reality. This is Quincy's actual balance sheet for 2023. A balance sheet shows the city's financial position at a specific moment in time. It lists assets, the things the city owns or is owed. It lists liabilities, the money the city owes to others, and it shows the net position, the city's overall financial health after assets and liabilities are balanced against each other. Some areas, like education and public safety, ended up costing more than the city originally planned. Others cost less, although some costs are harder to track exactly. Here's a closer look at how the city's actual spending lined up, or didn't, with its original plan. Overall, Quincy spent about $34 million more than it originally budgeted in 2023, and we pointed that out in our last video. The biggest overruns were in education and public safety, where actual spending was much higher than planned. We're conscious about comparing apples to apples, so we're not putting out an exact figure for those overruns. Across the board, the city's spending patterns didn't exactly match the original plan, and those gaps matter when it comes to managing taxpayer money. In 2023, Quincy planned to spend about $424 million, but actual expenses came in much higher, $498 million, creating a $74 million gap between what was budgeted and what was spent. But when you look at the city's full financial statements, the total change in net position was only about a negative $34 million, not the full $74 million shortfall. The smaller number reflects adjustments from a mix of variables and one-time events, like transfers from other accounts, grants and capital contributions, differences between depreciation estimates and real spending, under-budgeted liabilities, and unusual events like reimbursements, settlements, or property sales. We know this stuff isn't easy to untangle, and that's part of the problem. Quincy's budget has become so complex and so unbalanced that it's hard for residents to follow where the money's going. At Adjust Quincy, we're doing our best to get it right for you. If we mess something up, we're going to say so and fix it. But when we get it right, like we often do, we're going to say it clearly and say it loud. Because this is our city, and it's our money.